Okay, this is about solutions to the vision worksheet. So don't forget to put your name on top of any exam paper. And let's skim through and see what's going on. Notice I've got the calculator set up, ready to go. Checked it's in degrees, but it does not matter for this one. This one has no funny mode, so just checking its normal setup. Yeah, so let's have a look into the first question. These first few should be fairly quite straightforward. What fraction of the shape has been shaded? Well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are shaded, and the total is 9 pieces altogether. Don't fall into the trap of thinking there's another white one on the end. It's only 5 out of 9. No simplification required. Shading 30% of a shape. So 30% is 30 out of 100, and I can simplify that to 3 out of 10. So out of the 10 blocks we got here, you can shade any 3 you like. Doesn't matter what pattern they are, just make sure you're clear which 3 squares you're interpreting. To work out 2/3 of a fraction, I'm going to show you both classic way and fraction, my way of using equivalent fractions. Classic way is you get told, oh, if you want to do 2/3 of a number of turns into multiply. So we want to do 2 times 2 120 divided by 3. Just check it. 2 over 3. Notice the reverse on mine, and that means fraction. Multiply by 120, and it tells me 80. My equivalent fraction method, 2 over 3 equals, well, in this case, we've not been told what it is. It's of 120. That means 120 is the total, so it belongs along with the 3. So that's 120. And what I need to do is work out how to change the 3 into 120. So end 120, divide by the start, and it tells me I need to multiply by 40. And on the top I get 80. 2 times 40 is 80, so the result is 80 kilograms. Doesn't matter which method, but try to show some form of method. If you make any sort of error on your calculator, even by, so I forgot to do the 2 terms as well. 2 times my answer is 80 kilograms. So any form of error on your calculator could lose you both marks. If you show the mechanism, if you show 2/3 times 120, you'd get a mark. Similar sort of question here. So write down the fraction of the shape that's shaded. We've got 1, 2, 3 shaded, and there are 7 altogether. No simplification required. Again, what's 40% of this shape? And this one's a little harder than the last one. 40% is 40 over 100, which is 4 out of 10. But I haven't got 10 blocks here. I've only got 5, so can I change that denominator into 5? Well, yeah, it's halving the 10, so I halve the top, which is 2. So I only need 2 shaded blocks. I probably would get away with this bit. It wouldn't be that nasty to me. 0.75 of 200. The of, you're classically told, turns into a multiply. So 0.75 times 200 is 150. There is a way to do it with equivalent fractions, just in case you want to know it. 0.75, that's the part I'm trying to work out. I know that we've got 200 as a total, so what's the denominator on this other side? Well, if it's just a number 0.75, the denominator would be 1. That turns the same number into itself. So I've got to do the same calculation I showed over here. Multiply 0.75 by 200, and it gives me an answer of 150. Okay, continue on to the next page. Now, this is common for a calculator type question. They will show you a calculation and say, why is it wrong? What you need to do is actually give 2 reasons. There's 2 marks down here. So look at the marks, that's important. Well, the first one is we haven't got common denominators. You cannot subtract denominators. They need to be the same. So first of all, we have no common denominator. So no common denominator. What's the common denominator? Well, we've got 7 and 5. It's 7 times 5 is 35. So common denominator is 35. I then need to check what did I need to work it by, and so we haven't used, so equivalent fractions or equivalent numerators are incorrect. This probably would get you both marks anyway. Have not been scaled, not. Showing the correct calculation would probably get you the correct numbers. So 25 minus 21, which is 4 over 35. Now I can check in my calculator. 5 fraction 7 minus 3 fraction 5. And it's 4 out of 35. If you just did it on the calculator, it would be no marks. We'll just do a quick check in the mark scheme, but you should be allowed that answer just by using showing the correct calculation. But you must show. So let's just scroll through. Oh, there we go. 2 marks for full explanation. Answer given as 4 over 35. Or you subtracted 3 and 5 from the fraction less than 1, so the answer must be less than 1. Okay, so they've got an example there. A partial explanation must use common denominator. So you only get 1 mark for saying just common denominator. Correct calculation shown and shown was worth 2 marks. So that would be worth 2 marks on its own. That's worth only 1. What they're saying here is you actually got their alternative description was we've got 2 subtractions going on of numbers less than 1. Are subtracted. Positive numbers less than 1 are subtracted. The answer must be less than 1. And 2 over 2. That's a nice description they've got there. It was probably set up to make it happen, but this is a common calculator question. If you just did the calculation and said the answer is 4 over 35, no mark. Write these numbers in order of size. Probably the easiest way is to write things as decimals first. So if you don't know these, you should know those 2 are as decimals anyway. 2/5 is the same as 4/10, so 0.4. 41% is 41 over 100, so 41 2 places smaller. And the last one, use your calculator to get the decimal value. So Casio calculator is their D button to change this to a fraction. I need to use that one, and that one's 0.428. And I've got more digits, but I don't need any. Looking for the smallest number, just look at the first decimal place. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Which one has the next smallest in the second places? So we know the smallest one's going to begin with 0.4. Look at second place. This one has a 0. That's a 2, so that's bigger. That's a 1, it's bigger. That's a 5, it's bigger. This has a 0 as well. But when we look at the third place, 0.4400. Sorry, I put this decimal in the wrong place, although they would probably accept the correct decimals. Let's do 0. And this value, when you look at the third place, this value is smaller than that value. We're ignoring the others because they haven't got zeros in the second place. So we've got 0.4, which was my decimal number, and that's 2/5. Next one to it then must be the one that I was just looking at, the 0.4045. And then we're back to, right, let's go back and look at the others. So these have been dealt with. Come back, look at the others. 0.42, 0.41, 0.45, so 0.41. 0.41 is 41%. Next one, looking between these, we've got 0.428 and 0.45, well the 42 is smaller than the 0.428. 2 is next biggest. So that says 3/7 is next. The last one, 0.45. Just want to check whether or not you get marks for not using, converting back. I think you'd be accepted the decimals. Right, so conversion, first part will give you, this conversion line is the first mark. Second one is, it doesn't matter between these two. If you give them in decimal form or if you give them back in the original form. Good practice, use the original form. Pat and Julie show some money in the ratio 2 to 5. Julie gets 45 more than Pat. How much did Pat get? Now this is a bit of a weird one. We did two, sorry, just want to do the eraser. So we've got a ratio of 2 to 5. Now I'm going to use MrB Thread's extension makes, but in this case notice we wanted more. So we're going to do a more result on the right hand side here. So this is 3 Pat and Julie got 3 shares more. That's my first calculation. Then I can use the question. Julie gets £45 more than Pat. I've got to change that 3 into 45. So the difference between these is worth 45. I'm going to multiply both numbers by 15, so 30 and 75. 5 times 15, 75, and 75 minus 30 is 45. How much money did Pat get? £30. If you need something like this subtraction, this more, the subtraction there, the 3, and then saying that 45, you could even do it as a ratio, that 3 parts is worth 45, so 1 part is 15, so Pat's 2 parts is double that, 30. So that's the parts, and that's money. So you can do it with ratios, or you can do it using my ratio with an extra line. It's purely proportional reasoning. I keep talking about proportional reasoning being a strong root methods. Number 5, Joe's paid £2,000 each month. He saves 6% of each £2,000 each month. How many months will it take? Well, first of all, we need to know how much in 1 month. So 1 month, he gets start, change, and not really needed. Actually, let's do it by just the ratio form. We know 100% is the same as £2,000. Those two things I know, put them on the bottom. I want 6%, and that's his savings, so I'm going to use S for the letter in my savings. Rearrange, I want to know what 6% of 2,000 is, so 2,000 times 6 over 100. Drag to the other side and multiply by 6 divided by 100. What I've just typed in here is the classic form that people normally write down. A lot of people will write down 6 out of 100 times 2,000, or turn this into a decimal. it gives the same answer. This is a thinking step, this fraction. And press equals, and that's £120. So how many months will it take to get to 480? 480 is the target. Divide by 120. If you really want me to go down equivalent root fractions, always occur. This is 1 month. And that's how many months I want. There's my equivalent fractions again. So many problems can be represented easily in equivalent fractions. So 1 month is 120, 480 months. I can look at any way I'd like to do. I can divide by 120 to give me 1, or top to bottom and multiplying by 4. So as long as I'm going crosswise or up and down, multiplying and dividing, it tells me that I have the final solution. And what I need to do, change lines. Okay, let's go into here the list of ingredients for making 18 mince pies. She wants to make 45 mince pies. Does she have enough ingredients for 45? Probably easiest is to try and work out what you need to do to get from 45 to 18 and then see what happens. It is a ratio problem. We've got 225, and this is butter in grams, to 350 is flour in grams, to 100 grams of sugar, to 280 grams of minced meat, to 1 egg, and this will make 18 pies. We want to make 45, so we need to find out how to go from 18 to 45. So it's 2 divided by from, n divided by start, 45 divided by 18. That tells me how to convert one line into the other and multiply by 2.5. So what ingredients do I need? Butter. I've got 225 times 2.5. That's going to easily be in space. I wouldn't even need to do this. But 562.5. I can see E50. That might get close. 350 times 2.5. That's 875. That's okay. Sugar, 500 grams of sugar. Oh no, sorry, 100 grams of sugar. Times 2.5, you should recognise as 250. We want 280 times 2.5. And that says we need 700 grams of mincemeat. There's a problem. Just check the eggs as well, just in case we're going off to the shop to go and buy anything else. What else do I need? Well, times 2.5 before. There's 2.5 eggs. Yes, I'm okay for the eggs. The problem I've got is mincemeat. No, 100 grams short of mincemeat. Okay, there's my working. So I'll probably get 3 marks for showing those numbers and 1 mark for conclusion on mincemeat. Okay. Question 7. Ratios in their simplest form. Simplest form for 48. Both of these numbers will divide by 2, so we get 2 to 3. Counter is taken from the bag. Write down the probability the counter will be blue. Well, red is that side, blue is that side. So we've got 2 to 3, and MrB Throws extension for the total, which is 5. So the probability of blue is the 3 blue out of 5 that we have. If we find that there's more, it still will work out in that ratio. I think that's it. And that's it, that's the video for that whole disk.